Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
$11:02 on The Lock Shop, and the readathon continues. Hit the Nielson show today, was on the Hangout for 2 hours, and now right off the top of The Lock Shop, I thought it was only fair to bring you in, Reed. How are you doing,
thanks.
Sir?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How did this happen? I don't know. I think I brought it up as a joke, and now it's happening.
It's happening now.
That's fine.
It's on.
I'm here all day anyway. I mean, I do work here.
You are.
I'm in the building.
This is officially the halfway point, I guess. This will be the third show, and he's going to be on it just off the top here, and then popping on two guys.
If they'll have me.
Pop in on EST afternoons, and then obviously your show.
I don't think I'll feel like it's the halfway point till probably 4:30.
Yeah, I guess midway through your show. Yeah, that's right. Have you ever been on every show on a station in the history of your career, like even back in Lloyd or something?
Well, Lloyd didn't have shows. It was the radio station was a music station.
Yeah.
So I don't know. At Ched, I would say probably not. I mean, maybe sometimes on a big Oilers day, they wanted you on another show.
Yeah,
I don't know about every one. So I don't know. It's just a weird thing we're doing.
We'll bring in Huss, and actually Jake's going to join us around 11:30 today. But a couple of things. First of all, the reaction obviously is great. C-Run says, Reed pulling off the EST Career Grand Slam. You need a plaque on the wall for the man that did all the shows in one day. Employee of the Month. Gift certificate to Popeyes. Okay, so the Oilers right now, their updated series price, so this would be for them to come back and win the series, is plus 375. What would be your percentage chance that they come back here? Is it like a 15% chance? Is it higher than that? Is it lower than that?
I would say 12% that they win the series.
Yeah. So we're looking at a long shot here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's become a long shot. Also, I mean, not just being down 2-0 because of how they're playing.
Yeah.
They look really... victory seems quite distant right now, but I also I am. This is a cliche. Like as an observer and a broadcaster, it is one game at a time. I mean, LA could come out and dominate, and it's done Sunday. But I've seen teams look hopeless and turn it around or make a change or two and figure it out. And also, let's remember, LA still has to keep playing at the level they are playing at.
Yeah.
I think the LA's playing out of their minds right now. And I do think it'll be, they couldn't sustain it in game one. I mean, they did blow the lead in game one, even though they still won the game. But I think the Oilers winning this series has become a taller task than I thought it would be going in. They're making too many mistakes. And as I've been saying all morning, LA just, they're feeling it. They expect everything that they do to work. And it has been for most of the time.
RCN asked on our show this morning, he said, you should go on each of the shows, but have the opposite take that you had on the show before, which would be kind of funny. Right?
I just couldn't do that for consistency, though.
You're on two guys today being like, 85% chance they come back in this thing.
Yeah, I should. Yeah. You got to put Riddick in. Yeah. Goalie change? Yeah, the Kings.
Yeah. That would be good. Okay, so just tonight, 4 games tonight. Florida, Tampa, Toronto, Ottawa, Vegas, Minnesota, Winnipeg, and St. Louis. Give me one winner. Give me Reed's Reed's got to be right lock of the day.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take the Senators.
You are going to go Sens.
I'll take the Senators. Just bet them $5 straight up.
$5
I'm not going to worry. What do they call it? The puck line?
They're on the money line.
The money line.
And let's see. If I bet $5 on the money line,
but don't worry about the spread. Don't worry about the spread.
Okay, no, we're not doing puck line. Yeah, we're just doing money line. If you bet $5, you would win $3.85. So you get $8.85.
Why not? Like, it's not a lot of money, but you're not even doubling your money. But I think for a little bit, I mean, Ottawa, I played pretty. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see a lot of game 2. I was actually listening on iHeartRadio to Joe Bowen and company.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was listening to the second period. I think it was Ralph. What's his name? Is it Dan Ralph? Is still the color commentator?
Does he do color there?
I think he still is doing color. Okay. And then they were like, the Leafs have not had the puck most of the second period. Like they're playing.
Yeah, the final 40, Ottawa was better. I watched quite a bit of that.
So I think Ottawa's too resilient. They're looking a little inexperienced at times, but I think Ottawa is going to be back home and they'll win at least one. So make it tonight. There is.
All right.
Five. I don't know why I'm specifically saying $5 because it's not a lot of money. I'm not going to tell somebody bet $2,000 on.
Well, let me see here. If you were to bet $2,000 on them tonight, you would win $1,538.
Don't bet $2,000 unless you've won a lottery, like a multi-million-dollar lottery in the last 3 or 4 years. $5 on the Senators straight up to win.
All right, that's Reed Wilkins on his third show of the day. He's trying to hit for the cycle. I'll let you go prepare for 2 guys and a goalie.
All right, thank you.
All right, there you go. Reed Wilkins doing something that no man has ever done here before, and that is to hit all 6 shows today as we work our way through the day at EST. If only Nuge had this guy's work ethic, am I right? All right, we've got lots to get to. Oh, is he in his white? Huss is in his white today. It's blinding. I can't even see. Huss, what's up, buddy?
Game day. Tough act to follow. Reed hitting for the cycle today and then some.
I know. Yeah, he's got 3 shows left to be on in some way, shape, or form. He was on our show in fact, he was on post game last night. Then he was on our show this morning at 7:45. Then he did 2 hours of the hangout with Maddie and Tommy, and we're like, man, let's just run the table. I was like, okay, hop on for the first 5 minutes of Lock Shop. We'll see an appearance, and then it's basically on cruise control now, Huss, for this guy. Hey,
well, I am. How was the show this morning?
How do you think the show this morning was, Huss?
Well, I got to tell you, I was out watching the games, and I was texting with Remus, and and knowing that I love hitting post game shows, especially after bad losses. So I said, listen, EST is going to be insane. And he goes, are you going to watch the end of Dallas, Colorado, or are you going to be tuning immediately into EST? And I'm like, well, I'm going to probably watch. He goes like, Dusty's on one right now. I'm like, oh, really? So I had to get it up on the phone there. Right
Did you get to it before? Because we were at Hudson's last night. Game ended. I paid my tab and I was walking out and I was just like, you know what, Tommy, I got to hop on. I got to have a few things to say. Did you get there before or after I said Ryan Nugent-Hopkins looks like a guy who's ready to retire?
I was live for that. Yeah, Nuge taking some serious heat.
Oh, yeah.
Serious heat.
Big time heat.
I mean, there's probably plenty of heat to go around right now. I got to tell you, that was so disappointing. We hit Dallas at plus 158. Caps took care of business.
I know.
And just simply from a lock shop standpoint, that was a bummer. And I thought when they got that second goal, I really thought that it was game on. We were going to maybe see another big push. But I got to give credit to the Kings. They just simply didn't let that happen. But a big part of it goes to the Oilers as well. I mean, they're defending.
They're making it way too easy, buddy.
Absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
You watch the Winnipeg St. Louis series, it looks like a different league than what's happening right now in that series. I was surprised, and obviously I was disappointed for all of you because the 2-0 hole against this Kings team is no joke. I mean, I know they say, the series doesn't really start till someone loses at home.
Yeah, but if you're down 0-2 and you lose one at home, series is over. You know what I mean? That's tough to pull off.
Teams that go down 2-0, including teams that lose 2-0 on the road, win series 12.5% of the time.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's the exact number that Reed gave them a chance at today when I was asking him about their odds. He must have seen that number.
Either knew the stat or he's just that damn smart.
I was wondering why he picked 12.5%. I was like, wow, that's pretty specific. I will say this, though. I mean, if you're looking for a silver lining, and I wasn't looking for a silver lining on the post game last night or on the Nielsen show this morning, but if you are, the Oilers can't possibly play any worse than they have through the first two games. And the Kings, and watching this Kings team play in the first two games of this, and the Oilers have handed them a lot, but Kempe and Kopitar and Byfield and Fiala have all been excellent. I don't know why they're so bad on the road. Like, they won 17 of their 41 road games this year. So the team that I just watched play 2 games at home in LA, I don't know how that team only won 17 road games this year. So there's the silver lining. I mean, the Oilers can't be any worse. And the Kings, for some reason, are like a shadow of themselves on the road compared to what they are at home. So we'll see what happens in game 3, I guess.
I mean, that better be a desperate hockey team that plays like it in game number 3. I mean, I have no doubt that McDavid will, do some special things, and Draisaitl's going to have a lot of fight, but man, they need the rest of the guys to not be passengers, but be drivers. And listen, they got to figure it out in their own end. I mean, I know that's kind of easier said than done, but there were some goals last night where, I mean, if that happens in the first 20 games of the regular season, you're sort of scratching your head saying, what's going on, fellas? I mean, to have it happen in the playoffs was tough. You probably didn't get a chance to see much of Colorado Dallas last night because I'm sure you were all locked in on the Oilers.
Yeah, I mean, I was Montreal Washington earlier in the evening, then obviously locked in on the Oilers game, so I did not get to see pretty much any of Dallas Colorado last night. So what did I miss there?
Another awesome game. I mean, first off, Gabe Landeskog coming back. I mean, what an incredible story. He had been gone from the NHL for over 1,000 days.
That's insane. 3
years.
Like, to not just mail it in is pretty impressive. You know what I mean? Like, that's just...
He just won his cup, too.
Yeah.
He had financial security. He was a Stanley Cup champion. I would say 99% of players in the NHL would have just said, you know what? I'm at the top of the mountain. This is a great way to go out. I'll always be a part of Avs history. I'll get a job within the organization or something. Not Gabe. And he did seem to get a boost. I mean, it was a really cool scene when the game started, that massive banner, welcome back Cap. And even though that's a team that, may have to play and I don't particularly like, and they are a very dangerous squad, it is just great for hockey. And great for Landeskog, who has been such a great captain and member of the Avalanche, to get back into the lineup. However, Dallas is incredibly up 2-1 in this series. Now, it's not that they haven't played that well. They actually have, and they've carried play, but they've just never... they've been leading for a total of 1 minute in this series?
I saw that. I think I saw it last night, 63 seconds or something like that.
Yeah. A minute 3. But they managed to tie games up in both game 2 and 3. And then win in overtime. And, listen, Tyler Seguin, another guy that, was on the shelf for a long time, a pretty serious injury, comes back and makes a huge, huge contribution in OT to get that done. And, we're sitting here in Winnipeg just loving every second of this because I basically said, I don't really care who wins. I mean, whoever comes out of this series is going to be a hell of a difficult opponent if the Jets are fortunate enough to get through St. Louis. But the best case scenario for, whoever wins the first round between Winnipeg and St. Louis is for these two teams to go 7 and to play a lot of overtime. And so far, we've had 2 overtimes in the first 3 games. Colorado can win at home to even it at 2, guaranteeing 6. And as we said when we made the picks right off the bat, plus 180 on over 6.5, I think was looking pretty good before they dropped the puck, and it's still looking pretty good right now. And then, that Montreal game.
Hey, quickly, just on Dallas, Colorado, Huss, because Dallas has won those 2 tight ones, have only led for 1 minute and 3 seconds. Where do you come out on Colorado plus 125 on the series price right now?
And now it would probably be a great time to get in on them, especially when you consider what happened to the line. I mean, when it opened at even at basically a pick 'em, Colorado just went up and up and up and up. And, I think they were minus 154 by the time the puck dropped on the series. So, I still think this is basically a coin flip, essentially a pick 'em if you want. Colorado can absolutely win in Dallas. So yeah, plus 125 in the Avs actually right now is pretty nice. It's the one thing you can do. I mean, if you're someone that doesn't just want to make a bet and ride it through the series, there's all sorts of opportunities in the playoffs to get a plus number. For instance, like what you could have gotten on Dallas before the series, plus 130 or something like that. And now all of a sudden that they're up to 1, you could get in on Colorado at plus 125 to essentially guarantee you of a profit if you want to go that route. I mean, I usually just like to make my bet and hope that it wins. But if you do like to get on the other side, a little bit of hedging season, if you will, you can certainly do that on a few of these series because we see how volatile the series lines are based on game after game. Why don't we? Do you want to do the series lines first and then get into tonight's game?
Well, I do want your thoughts on Montreal, Washington, though, too. Like I watched good chunk of this up until I had to take Marshall to swimming around 7, and then some kid had puked in the pool, so swimming was canceled. So I got down to Hudson's a little bit early for the game. But I watched.
They cancel swimming because of one kid puking in the pool.
I mean, so we roll into swimming. Marshall's all fired up because he missed last week because of baseball evaluations. So the Barracuda's like pumped. He's like, let's go. We walk in and the lady's like, hey, sorry, swimming lessons are canceled. A kid puked in the pool. And I was like, oh, how much puke are we talking? And then I think the kid who puked in the pool was like standing there like in the entranceway where we were. And Marshall gave him the old stink eye. He's like, you ruined swimming tonight for me, man. So he was not happy. But then we rushed back home to try to catch the end of the Caps and Habs. And this could be bias, teenage, early 20s, dusty Habs fan coming out here, but I feel like they deserve a little bit better. Like they've played better than I thought they would. Like the series is still trending towards the Washington in 5 that I predicted, but I think you were on Washington 5 as well. But like Montreal has played better than I thought they would so far in this matchup. But I don't know if that's a take on Washington moving forward or what, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I thought they had a nice third period. I mean, they pushed back. The Caps dominated the game for long stretches in the middle, probably while you were dealing with the puke in the pool.
I saw the 3 goals in the second, and then that's when I had to jet to pukey pool time.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I thought that Washington, was really in control of that game. But again, you just look at the shot clock and, Montreal did generate some chances. Logan Thompson was good. It's amazing to see. I mean, we had many late night conversations last night about just how sad it is and what's happened to Patrick Laine. A kid that came in and scored 80 goals for the Jets before he turned 20 years old. Now with his ass stapled to the bench for the entire third period of that game yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's going to go one of two ways. I was just talking with Dave Pagnotta, and he said, well, obviously, he's playing the guys that he thinks give him the best chance to win, but it's also going to piss off Laine in a very public way. And he's going to be going back to that Bell Center. I'm just not sure whether St. Louis gives him that opportunity to go and sort of redeem himself and play off it. Because if it goes the other way and he continues to stink, I mean, that's a real bad situation for Montreal. Not to mention, Laine, when he's in a funk, it's often where the puck goes to die. And that was happening last night. So I like the Habs' chances of getting one in game number 3. I think that atmosphere is going to be incredible and they'll get a big, big boost from it. But I still like the Caps in a relatively short series. So we will see what they can do when the puck drops at the Bell Center and as this series shifts back to Montreal.
All right, should we dive into tonight? We are going to have Jake pop by. It's NFL draft day, and obviously you can bet on the NFL draft. So we'll get into that. I don't know how much time you spent on the NFL draft. I tried to dabble in it a little bit myself this morning. I've been reading a bunch of mocks and things like that. But Jake's going to join us to take a look at some of the movement and where some things are going. So let's get into tonight's game because we do have 4 games. Let's start with the Jets and the Blues. The Winnipeg Jets, who are in full command of this series right now. Just minus 118 favorites on the road here. You've watched every single second of this series. What do you think of them being a slight road favorite?
I mean, they were the best road team in the league all year. But these games have been really close. I mean, like, this is the thing for St. Louis. I mean, they have played 2 really good hockey games. And the Jets had to step up and really sort of take over those third periods. And that's been the difference so far. But I think the Blues are going to have a great crowd. This is not going to be an easy place for the Jets to win. But I think they've shown that, the Jets game translates anywhere. I mean, they're not a team that, has to be at home in the whiteout to do what they've done. And frankly, you could argue that they've done it better away from home than any other better team in the league this year. I thought that this would be maybe a little bit around a pick 'em or maybe minus 115 for the Jets. So minus 118 and even money seems like a very fair line. I'm very, very invested. So, I mean, I will give you all sorts of reasons why the Jets can't win, but I'm not dumb enough to think that the Blues couldn't have a big performance at home and make this a 2-1 series tonight. And I think
how about this total being a 5? When was the last time we saw a 5, buddy?
Yeah, no kidding. And I mean, it's plus 115 to the under. If it's 5.5, the under 5.5 is minus 156. So they realize that goals are at a premium. Both teams are playing an incredible brand of defensive hockey. Both goalies have been good. They say defense wins championships. There could be some championship level play from these two teams tonight with such a low total right now. But I feel pretty good about the Jets tonight. We'll put together some sort of a WST parlay for that game this evening. But again, this is one of those ones. I mean, the numbers tell you all you need to know. This could go either way. What's interesting is that, the Jets opened as a minus 118 favorite. That line hasn't moved. The Leafs and Sens was a pick 'em last night.
It was a pick 'em last night, and it's moved to Ottawa minus 130?
Minus 108, minus 110. So there's some real steam on the Sens. And I do think the Sens will be better. They have to be disciplined because that Leaf power play has absolutely killed them. But they can take a lot of positives out of those first few games. So I think I'm going to ride with Wilkins, and a little love for the Sens in game 3 for some home cooking.
I do like the idea of Reed Wilkins popping on the lock shop as a bit and just dropping a winner. Just like effortlessly as we sit here for an hour being like, I don't know. What about Toronto? Like, it's just, how about Ottawa for $5? Like, I don't mind it. Okay. What about Florida, Tampa? It's Tampa. I mean, this is that situation here. Tampa at home. If you can't get this one tonight, you're in more trouble than the Oilers are even in right now.
Yeah. These teams, I'm not sure it matters that much where these teams are playing, to be honest. I mean, they've known each other so well. They've played so many times. Florida seems comfortable in Tampa's barn. I don't think Tampa's going to be intimidated when they get down to South Florida. But the bottom line is you don't want to be down 2-0 and then have to win 4 or 5 against a team like the Florida Panthers. So, yeah, I think the Lightning will be a very desperate team. I think Andrei Vasilevsky, knowing his track record, will be able to come back and be much better than he was in game number 1. So I think a slight lean towards Tampa, but that's what's kind of cool about these games tonight. I mean, the lines are all very, very close when it comes to the money line. And that's often when you get the lower seed at home in game number 3. I mean, the biggest underdog on the board tonight is in fact the Minnesota Wild at plus 130, who have, I think, go back into this game tonight, Dusty, with a ton of momentum.
Yeah.
After the way that they played the Vegas Golden Knights. And listen, Vegas is a great team, but towards the end of the season, they were showing a few concerning signs. I saw it firsthand when the Jets rolled into Vegas and just took care of them with that 4-0 win. And I was talking to Lawless, and he said, yeah, listen, when this team plays the way Bruce Cassidy wants them to play, they're very good and they'll win on most nights. But they've sort of gotten away from that, and I'm not sure whether they've been able to turn it around. I mean, keep in mind, at the start of that last game, Aiden Hill stood on his head for 5 or 10 minutes before the Wild even broke the dam. But then it just kept going. And to be honest, it wasn't until late that Vegas did very much. So, like, Vegas is going to want to go in and get back on top and get home ice. I think the Minnesota Wild are a very live dog tonight in this game at home.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was looking at him even from regardless of what happened last game. I had Vegas in 6 to win this series. So Minnesota, I thought, were going to get 2 somewhere along the way. They got the one, and I think this is the other one that is kind of set up for them there. Like, take this momentum. You're going home. Take advantage of this one. You're up 2-1, and then the Golden Knights face an early test here in the first round of the playoffs. So I'm with you on this one. I like you said, like the numbers across the board tonight. Florida's plus 103, Tampa's minus 121, Toronto's plus 110, Ottawa minus 130, Winnipeg minus 118, St. Louis plus 100, Vegas is minus 154, Minnesota's plus 130. It's a really tight board tonight. And when it's tough to find value on a dog, I actually really like the value on the underdog in this spot here right now.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that game is going to be a bit of a pick 'em, but Minnesota will have a big boost. I mean, they were the team actually that was so amazing on the road and just so at home. I think that's not going to matter at all. I mean, the fact now they've got Kaprizov back, they've got Joel Eriksson Ek back. That line, I think I mentioned this yesterday. I mean, right now, John Hines is putting Matt Boldy with Ek and with Kaprizov, and they are absolutely abusing Las Vegas. Now, the Wild don't have much beyond that. I mean, if they can get a goal or two from secondary scoring and have these guys do what they've been doing so far, they could win the series. Philip Gustafsson playing really well. Aiden Hill, how he bounces back, I think is a question. But I'm going to take Minnesota tonight at plus 130. I don't feel great about the Sens. But I just think that with the way that they've played and carried play at times and carried shot share and a lot of things that usually indicate game, victories, and they're going to have a crowd, although there'll be lots of Leafs fans in the building, Sens fans are going to be really fired up for this one. I do like Ottawa. And then, man, I have such a hard time. I mean, I think I'd almost go Jets at minus 118 more than a really good feeling on either side of that Florida Tampa.
Yeah, no, I was wondering if you'd be okay throwing the Jets in there. Also, I threw this number in there. If you did take the under 5.5 at minus 156 in Winnipeg, St. Louis, that number with the Ottawa as a dog, or as Minnesota as a dog on this card, plus 568 with the under 5.5 if we move it. Where do you come out on Jets to win or the under 5? I mean, if we throw the Jets in, that number is going to pop up to, what are we at? 652. But without if we just go the under, like I said, it's plus 568. So it's not a huge change, especially with a boost. But what do you like more, the under 5.5 or the Jets to win?
Well, put it this way. I like the Jets to win more. But as far as I'd like that to be the result more than the under, just because they would get the win. But I'll say this. I mean, when you look at what we've got here at 5.5, obviously the first game was sort of weird, right? I mean, there was the 3 early goals on Hellebuck, and then the Jets storming back in the third period, getting an empty netter. And then we saw far more of, I think, what we expect to see in this last game, 2-1. So yeah, why don't we do that? Let's take the Wild and Sens in the under 5.5, and we'll still get it in excess of 6-1.
Yeah, and I don't want to jinx the Jets at all, but we could cash this bet even if the Jets lose, so you could come out somewhat happy with the parlay at least. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Jets will still be up 2-1.
Jets money line. We'll have the Jets money line on a WST exclusive. So we'll be looking to go 2 for 2. It's going to start with the Sens though, and to see if they can get one over on the Leafs and get back into this series tonight. Should be fun. Hey,
did you see Jake there yet? I don't see the green room. Is he connected?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Trev, you come throw Jake in. We're going to get Jake in. Obviously, we're going to talk some NFL draft stuff with Jake. But we also have to obviously hit on the Battle of Ontario. NBA action quickly tonight before we bring in Jake. The Knicks and the Pistons are playing Detroit at home, plus 105 as a dog. OKC, who has just rolled over Memphis, minus 9.5 on the road. I did throw that in as a little bit of a hotline of the day this morning on the Nielsen show. I don't care where those two teams are playing. OKC's just simply too good. And then I think I mentioned Kawhi over 25.5 points tonight. He's been excellent so far. This series shifts to Los Angeles, where the Clippers are 5.5 point favorites at home against the Nuggets. It's hard to take the 5.5 when Jokic is on the other side. So I think I like the Kawhi prop play in there to kind of remain red hot, and hopefully he can stay healthy. So that's the three things in the association. Just quickly on that one, Huss, you don't have anything on the NBA?
No, I don't have anything on the NBA. I'm just checking my bets made yesterday, and shockingly, and this just goes to show just about last night, the Super Boost.
Yeah.
Neither McDavid or McKinnon got points last night.
That's gross.
What would have been the Super Boost on that would have been probably about 4 or 5.
The other way. Yeah. No points.
The other way.
Yeah.
For sure.
The reverse Super Boost. There you go. That's something for Coolbet moving forward. I like that. All right, let's bring in Jake Bolin Moss from Coolbet. We're going to talk some NFL draft a little bit. But Jake, we got to get your thoughts. Game 3 tonight. How are you feeling right now, Jakey boy? I think
you're muted.
I think you're muted.
Sorry, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as Patty said yesterday. Job's not finished. Like, got to go to Ottawa. I think, like, the optimistic in me, it says if you get the split in Ottawa, you're feeling pretty good coming home 3-1.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But it starts with a good showing tonight, right? Like this game can turn the series big time. You go to Ottawa, if Ottawa's in heavy control of the game and they take care of business tonight, then you're probably a little bit more sweaty going into Saturday night with the series at 2-1. So, I trust in Chief and getting these guys ready to go for tonight's game. But I think as you win games in a series, the next game only gets harder. Like, I think you'll see the same thing for LA going back to Edmonton. Like you mentioned, Dusty, like this team did not play well on the road this season. I know they picked up 2 big wins at home, but I think that LA Edmonton series is far from over. And I think, the big boys there have a lot to say before it's all said and done. So I think it's the same kind of deal for Ottawa. Like, your backs are against the wall. You can't go down 3-0 in the series. So I think the Leafs are going to get probably Ottawa's best punch tonight, and I think that's a lot of why we've seen the odds move in Ottawa's favor. Like, I think a lot of people feel that way.
I was mentioning, late last night, this was still a pick 'em, and then today it's been going. And listen, I still think the Leafs win this series, and I think it could be in as little as 5 games. I think if Ottawa's going to get one and get back into the game, it's probably tonight. They're going to have a huge boost at home with their home fans there, with their first chance to play in their home building in the playoffs in a hell of a long time. And I think they know that they've been right in both of these games, Jake. Like, they have to be frustrated, especially with the way that game ended and what happened that led to the overtime goal. But I think, as Travis Green said, you can look at their body of work outside of special teams, which has been killing them. And if they can stay at 5-on-5, he'll have last matchup. It'll be interesting to see if that changes. To me, I think if Ottawa's getting one, I think it's going to be tonight. We were just going through Minnesota as a home dog tonight. St. Louis is a home dog tonight. I think a couple of these teams, are getting back in their series with wins. I hope it's not in the Winnipeg-St. Louis series, but it wouldn't surprise me if any of those teams won at home tonight as slight underdogs.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say is, Pacioretty's drawing back in for the Leafs tonight. Robertson's going to be out. So he's going to slot in on the third line with Domi and McMahon. So we'll see what that looks like. But the one thing for Ottawa is I don't think there's going to be a lot of flybys tonight like we saw in overtime there with Paterson and Cousins. I think it's going to be a lot of heavy hitting. Like, they have been heavy on the forecheck. You watch the first man in for Ottawa, and BX had talked about it on the panel between intermissions is, that first guy in there is hitting at anyone with the puck. Like, that is their way they're playing it. And eventually it's going to work. We saw it work on, I think Ekman Larson kind of pushed one back behind the net, and Domi was late to get there. And I think it set up that second goal that put Ottawa in a tie. But, the defense for the Leafs has been impressive. That's what's impressed me a lot. Like, not a lot of high danger scoring chances, but there is a lot of shots on net. I think Patty mentioned that yesterday. Like, you see the shot totals in the games and you're like, oh, Ottawa's all over them. A lot of these shots are coming from the outside. It's pretty routine stuff. Stolarz has been real solid, and I thought Ullmark kind of matched that after letting up the 2 early ones in game 2. It just happened that the Leafs found a way to get it done in OT, and I feel a lot better that they're up 2-0 headed to Ottawa than a 1-1 series, which could have easily happened with an overtime in game 2. So yeah, a lot going on. I do want to double check. So it was Sens, Wild, and the under in the Jets game for the partner parlay, right?
Under 5.5. Yeah, the 5.5 number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sending that over to the guys
Okay,
right now.
perfect. Thanks, man. Before we get to the NFL draft, I do just, being Toronto Jake here, 5 losses in a row for the Toronto Blue Jays. I just want to know how you're doing on that.
Yeah, tough to follow the team right now. This has not been a good betting strategy just yet, but one thing I've done here early in the baseball season is if a team's lost 2 games in a 3-game series, I've been betting the team that's lost the 2 games in hopes that they wouldn't get swept or, that the other team feels pretty good. I did it with the Blue Jays yesterday. It's a pretty ugly scene. I mean, I think they had 2 guys on, down 2. I think both runners in scoring, down 2 yesterday with only 1 out. Once again, they're just struggling to score runs. Like, you're losing games 3-1 or 2-0 or 4-0. Like, that's no good. Like, you have to put runs up to win baseball games. You can get all the great pitching you want, but if you can't score, you're in trouble. So, yeah, I mean, it's great they signed Vladdy. Yeah, we've talked about that, but at the same time, the early excitement starting to wear off here, and you're starting to remember how long the baseball season really is. So we'll see what happens in the next month or so.
Yeah, well, hopefully the hockey team can keep all of you guys focused away from what's happening down at the
I had a lot of
Rogers
people in the chat yesterday. They're on me. I got these teams literally inked on my arm. Okay?
Oh, no.
This is, Dusty, you never saw that?
How did I not see that when we were in Boston together? I did not see your...
Probably the long sleeves.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is signing up for a life of torment and torture.
Your body is tattoo free, right? You're in no ink zone.
Just the full full back tat. It's a portrait of myself.
Portrait. Yeah. I thought you were gonna say your portrait of Patrick Mahomes on your back.
Yeah. Hey, if Hellebuck wins the Hart and wins the Stanley Cup, we might be getting a large piece on the back.
Lock that in, everybody. I want the Helly Conn Smythe Hart Trophy Stanley Cup back tattoo for us. I think that would be great. All right, so the NFL draft is the NFL. Oh, go ahead, Huss.
Just quickly on that, we were talking about that, and just dare to dream. But if the Jets won the Stanley Cup this year, and Hellebuck, who I think has a very good chance of winning the Hart.
Greatest goalie season ever. That's what you're about to say, aren't you?
I mean, listen, it's right there with one of the greatest seasons ever. Yep. I mean, 1 win away from the all-time record, basically running the table. I mean, I know Stolarz, he played way less games. He beat him by save percentage by .001. But if you win the Jennings Trophy, the Vezina Trophy, the Hart Trophy, your team wins the President's Trophy, and win the Cup, even regardless of Conn Smythe.
Yeah, but likely the Conn Smythe.
That's a short list of 0 that have ever done that. So, anyways, that is getting ridiculously carried away thinking about what could happen. But
they're up 2-0 in round 1, and you're like, hey, greatest season of all time.
It's like a 12-game parlay, and you know what? The first 8 games are in. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the first 8 legs are locked away. You need 2 more legs, 3 more legs.
Yeah, you got to make it happen. But yeah, let's get to this NFL draft tonight. This is kind of I love the NFL draft, and I don't know whether I've just been so caught up in the excitement of the Jets and the hockey playoffs, or maybe, Jake, it's the lack of real true star power at the quarterback position after the last couple drafts that we've had, because it sort of seems like it's Cam Ward, and then we're going to be seeing defensive players, offensive linemen, D linemen, maybe Ashton Jonte moving up the board as a running back, which we don't see very often. But I think this is going to be, shall we say, a less sexy first round, certainly by all indications of the people that I respect kind of putting together their final mocks.
Yeah, I mean, I did about an hour crash course here for the draft to get ready for the show. I jumped into a chat with our draft guy. His name's Sam. Call him Uncle Sam or Slammin' Sammy. He's doing a lot of our odds right now, so I just ran some stuff by him just to see, what he thought was good to touch on. Gente's going to be a big one. I mean, want to just start off from the top of the draft, and we'll just work our way down.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
and let's talk about how things have moved, because that line movement when it comes to any draft, but especially the NFL draft, the most interesting thing because it's all based on information and reports and insiders. I mean, there's no games that are happening, but we have seen these numbers kind of fluctuate pretty significantly.
Yeah, I have a ton of movement here on the board in my notes. So, I mean, let's start up top and then we'll touch from about 5 on. It starts to get interesting. So, first overall, Cam Ward, Huss already touched on it. Quarterback out of Miami. He's minus 10,000 to win. To be drafted first overall. I think that's a no-brainer. He's going to Tennessee. Second overall, Travis Hunter, minus 714 to go to Cleveland. That seems all but done. So it sounds like the wide receiver cornerback combo of Travis Hunter will be headed to Cleveland. Keep an eye on them. There's some talk about, if Shedeur starts to drop, does Cleveland move back in? Do they try to pair up Hunter and Sanders in Cleveland? That could be an interesting one. Third overall, Abdul Carter out of Penn State, defensive end, minus 625 to go to the Giants. Probably one of the best players in the draft. Huss, like you mentioned, not a ton of star power like we've seen in previous drafts, but there's going to be a lot of good players up top. There's going to be a lot of good players in the middle of the draft. Abdul Carter is one of those guys, so it sounds like he's probably going to the Giants. And then Patriots at 4, looking at the offensive tackle Will Campbell. Offensive tackle, when you're a fan of these teams, can be a bit boring, but protecting the quarterback is so important. Huss, you know that. Dusty, you know that.
Yeah.
When you got
the way the Lions have done it, you got to build from the trenches out, and that's a big piece for the Patriots. So that'll probably be first offensive tackle off the board in Will Campbell at LSU. So excuse me, let's go to 5. You talked about Genty, Huss. Right now, he's the favorite to go at 5, but there's a lot of interesting stuff happening right now as we're sitting here. So Genty, 5th overall pick, minus 233. The Jags have that pick as we currently sit. But apparently, the Bears are picking up steam to the front runner to take Genty. So I don't know if that means the Bears are going to try to move up or they're going to try to, or if Jacksonville's going a different direction. But right now, he's a pretty big favorite to go 5th overall. Like I said, minus 233. But if you go down to our odds, and it's the team to draft Ashton
I've been
Genty,
staring at these all day with this guy. Yeah, go ahead.
The Bears are minus 141. The Bears don't pick till 10, I believe, in the draft. Let me just double check. Yeah, they have the 10th pick. So, it seems like, he's starting to pick up steam that he's going to Chicago. I don't know if that means they're moving up or, like I said, if the Jaguars are taking a different direction. He is plus 110 to go to the Jags. So if you're betting this and you think he's going at 5th and you think the Jags are holding on to their pick, the plus 110 for him to go to Jacksonville seems to be the play. You're not going to bet him minus 233 to go 5th overall. So that's probably the direction you want to go there. A couple other things. So some movement, Huss. You talked about the movement. He's minus 233 to go 5th right now. That's the Jags pick. As early as April 4th, he was 16-1 to go 5th. 8-1 to go 5th on the 17th of April. 250-1. Plus 250 to go 5th on April 21st, and then on April 22nd, he was even money to go 5th. So he's moved a crazy amount. Like I said, up 16-1 for early in the draft, and all the way down to minus 233 now. So feels like Genty's going 5th. It's just a matter of who's he going to. Are the Bears moving out, or is Jacksonville falling off, and maybe he's not going 5th. Maybe he's not getting off the board till 10. Now let's talk about the Raiders.
Hey, hold on a sec, Jake. Just on that, because Genty, is going to be, I think, the most interesting play, and that's kind of really where the draft starts.
Yep, I agree.
If the money is saying that he's likely going 5th because he's been connected to the Jags, but we're seeing that the number is suggesting that he goes to the Bears, is there potentially some value if we look at Genty as either the 4th overall pick or the 3rd overall pick, potentially with the Bears moving up to have to go to 3 or 4 to take Genty before he goes off the board to the Jags at 5?
Yeah, it's possible. I'm looking at it now, Huss. I just went over to his draft position. It's in the main prop section of the draft. His under 6.5. So under is he's going 6th or higher. Minus 435. So like you said, maybe there's a scenario where he might be going in the 4th overall slot or the 3rd overall slot. The problem is you got to decide who's moving down in that scenario. Is it the Patriots at 4? so the Bears can jump the Jags and grab them at 5? Or
well, the Giants are the team that I'm thinking right now.
Yeah,
And because they need a quarterback. I don't think they feel comfortable taking Shedeur or even Jackson Dart if they like him at 3. If they could get, and they also have a lot of needs. I mean, if they could move from 3 down to 10, have the Bears jump up to 3, get their guy with no doubt, take him off the board, then the Giants could either trade down again if they think that they're able to do that, and still get Sanders if they want him or another quarterback and still have other picks to get somebody for their offensive or defensive line. Like, I'm not sure if Carter is just such a slam dunk pick as opposed to just the most likely guy if you don't want to take a quarterback there. Like, Genty is 39-1 to go third overall. He's 4-1 to go 4th overall. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I might take a little flyer and just put a little bit down on that 3rd overall pick, because I do think that there's a scenario where the Giants feel they can get better and get more of what they want by moving down. And I do think the Patriots are, I mean, listen, the Patriots might be in a similar situation. You might be able to get that pick paying less, but they have to protect Drake May. I mean, if they move down and don't get their guy, that's a fail on their part. So to me, that 3rd pick is live. And the fact that, there's other guys, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter ahead of it. But if the Bears are going to be the team that makes it happen, we know the Jags are very, very high on Genty, and that's why his number's gone where it is on the 3rd overall pick. Maybe we'll look at taking him even earlier. Anyways, that's something I think I'm going to, as I talk this through in the draft lock shop workshop, I think I'm going to take a little look at potentially a move with the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the Bears possibly moving up. They do have 2 early picks in the 2nd round. Looks like they had the 39th overall pick and the 41st overall pick. So do they move both of those to get up to number 3 where the Giants are, and the Giants pick up those picks? We'll have to see. Because there's a world where Shedeur might not even get picked in the 1st round. And
that's why I wanted to throw out, because his number's 21.5 right now. I've been looking at mocks all morning, and I've seen some where he slipped out of the 1st round. I've seen some where like Cleveland's trading back in at 29 to get him. Jake, what was your guy saying about this 21.5 for Sanders?
Yeah, so the rumor around Sanders is like there's not a lot of 1st round interest in him right now. His number early on was 8.5 in draft position, and it's all the way up to 21.5, like you mentioned, Dusty. The one team where there is interest is the Pittsburgh Steelers. That seems to be like, if there's a team that's going to take him in the 1st round. So
that's why the number's at 21.5.
And there's 21.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, Cleveland has the 1st pick in the 2nd round. So, they might be in a situation where they're like, well, if Shedeur falls to us at 33, we'll take Shedeur, and we'll have Shedeur and Travis Hunter, and that'll be nice. If Shedeur doesn't fall to us, like, we'll go a different direction. Like, I'm sure there's a couple plans there for Cleveland, which, so they don't have to necessarily move back into the 1st round. But that seems to be the number, and the reason why you're seeing, under 21.5 is -154. That Steelers may be in on Shedeur. If you look at the Steelers' odds to draft their 1st position drafted, quarterback -135 is the favorite. So, all signs as it currently stands point to Cleveland taking Shedeur Sanders. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, that doesn't guarantee anything. Steelers might go a different direction. Shedeur might still be on the board when we start the 2nd round.
The other pick to just when we're talking about Sanders and the 2nd quarterback off the board, the other one to keep an eye on is Denver at 20. And not because they need a quarterback, but they've been very clear that I think they'd be more than willing to move. Like, I've seen some mocks that have the Giants trading into that 20th spot to take Sanders a pick before the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Denver would be smart to do that. I mean, there's a lot of things that are possible, especially if the Giants do move down. Because I think this is the 1st draft ever, guys, ever in NFL history where we're going into draft night, or at least right now, where every single team still has their 1st pick. I mean, normally you've got teams.
Every single team still has their 1st pick?
Everybody's got their pick right now.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And that has not happened before. So, but I do think that the teams have their capital. We always see moves. I don't know. I'm sort of speculating, but it, I guess, depends on what people are looking for. Like, I think there's enough solid defensive edge rushers and D tackles that you see on a lot of these boards that not sure teams are going to need to move around. But with a diminished quarterback class and yet the scarcity of quarterbacks and how important they are, don't be surprised if a move to the Denver pick in 20 happens. And then the other guy, and I'm not sure if there's a number on him, I was looking for it, I didn't see it, but Jackson Dart, who is probably going to be the third quarterback. I would not at all be surprised if either the Chiefs or the Eagles, picking with the final 2 picks of the first round, trade their pick to a team that wants to take him. Just because we know how important that 5th-year option is for quarterbacks, much like, Lamar Jackson. He was going to go in the second round. The Ravens traded up to that final pick, so they had the extra year of team control. And I think that'll be important, because the minute you get to the second round, teams will be looking to fire on that. I think both the Chiefs and the Eagles historically have been more than willing on making a move or moving down a few picks. And again, those last couple picks in the first round, always key. And we often see quarterbacks taken in that spot because of the unique advantage of the 5th-year option, I should say, for first-round picks in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. If you look at the first-round totals, quarterbacks drafted in the first round, the number's set at 2.5. The over is -154. So, as much as there's not a lot of steam behind, after Cam Ward about these quarterbacks being first-round picks, they're still kind of expecting at least 3 QBs to go in the first round. So you might be onto something there. Even if you go over to the team specials, like the
there
team
is Dart,
there.
by the way. There is Dart, by the way. I don't know why I wasn't just right staring me in the face. 24.5 is the pick, and it's juiced to the under at -175. So, I mean, I think that says Steelers, that says Broncos selection as well. But +130 on the over. And it's pretty clear that they do believe that Dart's going to be a first rounder, whether he falls down to those final couple picks or gets picked earlier. Anyway, sorry, back to the specials.
Yeah, no, all good. There's a lot to chew on there, and I think, Huss, you've really got to, I feel like a good grasp on what you're expecting here. And that's kind of how if you're going to go on a draft night and you're going to make some bets on draft night, no one really knows. These first 4 picks seem like they're pretty.
It's crazy really talking about betting on drafts, isn't it? I love it, but I do think we're nuts. We're just nuts. I'm listening to it. I'm like, man, we're crazy.
Okay, I do have a couple more things though. I want to talk about the pick at 6 because the Raiders are an interesting one. They have the 6th pick right now, and they were the initial favorite for Ashton Genty. That seemed to be the spot. He was -139 as the favorite when he opened to go to the Raiders. He's now 5-1 to go to the Raiders. So more than likely that's probably not going to happen. It seems like they're going to go offensive tackle. So here's some of the movement on the 2 tackles they have at the top of their board. Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas. He's +160 to go 6th right now, assuming the Raiders keep their pick. He was 30-1 on April 14th, 18-1 on April 17th, and down to 8-1 yesterday. He's now +160. So some pretty big movement on Kelvin Banks out of Texas. The other name, Armand Membu, I probably screwed that up. He's an offensive tackle out of Missouri, 2nd on their board, +175 to go 6th. He was 16-1 on April 14th and 5-1 on April 18th. So we've seen big movement from both Kelvin Banks Jr. and Armand Membu. It feels like the Raiders are probably going tackle. That's given, assume everything kind of plays out as it is expected to in the first, 5 picks after Jacksonville. Personally, I think the draft starts at Jacksonville, but Huss, is hinting at the possibility this draft could start as early as the 3rd pick in the Giants if they choose to move down.
It's going to be great. Huss, what's coming up in WST today, buddy?
Well, we're all over tonight's game. Jeremy Rutherford and Murata Tesh will join us on the Blues and the Jets from St. Louis. And then Dave Pagnotta will talk a little bit of playoffs as well as everything happening around the league with the teams that are not playing right now. We've had a little bit of an NHL version of NFL's Black Monday with all these coaches getting fired right at the end of the regular season.
Yeah,
so
that's
we'll
right.
kind of dive into that. And I will be taking a look at the just a couple quick draft props that I like. New York Jets, position of New York Jets first drafted player, tight end. Tyler Warren from Penn State is minus 200 to go under 10.5. He's been linked to Indy, and Indy's minus 105.
Minus 105. Yeah, I have them on my notes here too. Indy minus 105.
But I don't. He doesn't get there. I don't think he gets there. And I'm not sure he gets past the Jets. So if you do want a nice little plus 240er, I'm going to be taking Jets first player tight end. He was the dream pick of the Chiefs to replace Kelsey, but there's zero chance that he's going to be he's going to be coming back down.
The last one I got, I know we're like basically out of time here, but
no, give it to me. Yeah.
Speaking of tight ends, I mean, apparently there's some word that Philly's probably moving on from Dallas Goedert. They might be looking to a tight end. So right now their position of the first player to be drafted is defensive lineman or edge rusher at plus 110. That seems very Philly, but just keep an eye on the tight end market's plus 550 right now to be the first player drafted. They had the last pick in the draft. It was as high as 16-1 early April and 9-1 mid-April. So, we've reached the end of April. It's plus 550. Like, if you want to take a flyer, there's a few good tight ends in this draft early. I think we're going to see Warren go, like Huss said, probably in the top 10. We might see, I believe the other guy is Loveland. He had a great
Colston Loveland, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he's another one that'll probably go in the top 20, so might be third tight end off the board by then. But don't be surprised if Philly maybe goes that direction, especially if they're planning on moving on from Goddard.
All right, we got two guys in the goalie coming up here in about 2 minutes, and Huss has WST starting right away as well. Jake, great breakdown of the NFL draft, man. Thanks for hopping on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys. Go Leafs.
All right.
Good luck to the boys. In game 4, we need the Sens tonight.
Yeah, need Sens tonight for the parlay. Yeah, that's right. All right, for Huss and Jake, I am Dusty. Stick around. Two guys in the goalie coming up right away here on EST. Thank you very much for joining us today. Best of luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow on The Lock Shop.